have far more rosy blushes than I thought that I did. Hey everyone, if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Jennifer, and today we are looking at rosy blushes. This all started because I picked up the Jones Road Dusty Rose bronzer. Yes, it is bronzer, but it looks very much like a blush in my opinion of what a blush looks like. And I found that it's extremely close to an old Chanel blush shade that I had been looking for. So I decided, instead of going through every single swatch request that you all asked for in separate, conversations, I would just do one large video. This has all my rosy blushes. At least I hope I pulled out all my rosy blushes. I think I did. I have Dior, Chanel, Gucci, Chantecaille, Sisley, Hermes, RMS, Valentino, Pat McGrath, Charlotte Tilbury, Surratt, Jones Road, and Wayne Goss. So I think we've got it covered. So this is my second time starting this video. My camera decided to lose its mind. So first I want to say I am wearing new earrings from Chanel. These are freshly arrived. I saw these overseas and then basically harassed my poor Chanel SA until she found them for me. She had them in the store where these pavés were actually pink. If you've watched my channel before, I'm not a big pink person. The back of these actually have like a black sparkle, like a black speckled almost. The other ones have pink. So if you're interested in them, they do come in the exact same style except they're pink pavé. They also come where it's just the heart and it's like a stud. So it's just the heart piece. And they also come where there's something, I forget, there's like a bigger piece up at the top that are clips in case you don't want pierced. So there are a few different versions. I believe they're only available at Chanel boutiques. But if you're interested in a SKU number, like a number for the design, let me know. I will put it in the description box as well. So other than that, I also had started to swatch. So let me show you. This is the Jones Road Dusty Rose, and here is Chanel Mocha. This is the shade that I was talking about that I said I'm looking for. And I think you can tell they are ridiculously close. Now I'm going to swatch like a little bit over here because I was running around trying to figure out what was going on with my computer, and I think I smudged a little bit of this off my computer, my camera. But the shades are very, very similar. The formula in Chanel, this is old Chanel. It is different. I haven't found anything that is an exact dupe for the old Chanel formula, but it is a beautiful formula. And the Jones Road bronzers, I think, have really nice power. They last. The Jones Road formula, I think, is really nice. It's very buildable. It doesn't sink into lines. It's really beautiful all day. I actually have the light tan on my face today as a light bronzer. And I really do think that it's a beautiful formula. So if you're interested in picking up a bronzer, Jones Road formula, I absolutely recommend. So let's go to Surratt. This is called La Vie Rose. And if you're not familiar with Surratt, the way that they come in these little palettes, and then you can put them into palettes of your own making. They have like stickers on the back. Surratt has beautiful shades. And I have a couple of their blushes. I think they're extremely good. This is actually one of my favorite shades. I think it's a really pretty rose. But I think you can see this rose is much more pink than the Mocha and the Dusty Rose, which has more of this like grayish brownish pink, where most rose blushes look more what you would consider traditionally pinky rose. Not all of them, but many of them. So a lot of people asked for Charlotte Tilbury. This is Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I actually love Pillow Talk, and a lot of people ask me, well, isn't it close to Pillow Talk? The thing is, it's not the Dusty Rose, because if you actually put both shades together, you get a much lighter shade than you'd think. That's Pillow Talk blush. And as you can see, here's Dusty Rose, here's Mocha. See how like light pink it is? Now the outer rim of this shade is a little bit deeper, but even then, it's still much deeper. I'm just using the outer rim of the shade. It's still much lighter than, and more pink than the Dusty Rose from Jones Road and the Mocha from Chanel. All right, the next one that people really asked for was Gucci. Now this is Gucci, this is Rosy Beige. I'm not a huge fan of the Gucci blushes. Guys, it's not that they're bad, they're not bad. They're just not my favorite. The packaging is really cute. I really like the packaging. Yeah, they're not my favorite, that's all. So I'm gonna put it here because I wanna show you guys next to it that it is similar. But I think you can see it's like deeper, and in my opinion, I'm not sure what it's almost like, it's definitely pinker. It's a deeper shade, but it's also a little bit more muddy for some reason on me. Like the Mocha and the Dusty Rose, when they go on my skin, yes, there's a little bit of coolness, a little bit of brownness, and so that does, you know, you see that in the shades, but this one actually looks like a little muddy almost on me, and so in comparison, it has more of that like almost fuchsia type undertone. Like it's an undertone, it's still pink, it's still rose, but these, I don't know, there's a different undertone in there that makes it more flattering on me. Let's look at RMS Beauty. So this is French Rosé. Now I actually picked up 2 more of the RMS Beauty blushes when they were on sale. I really like the RMS Beauty. This is French Rosé. You can see this is like a different color entirely. So when people say rose, they have very different ideas of what a rose is, which I get because roses are very different shades. So that's French Rosé. I would also say they are much more pigmented. They're very pigmented, and they have more of a luminescence to them than many of these blushes do. I'm gonna pull out Sangria. I just wanna see, I think Sangria is gonna be, yeah, it's more orange, but I think you can see like the luminosity that the RMS blushes have that the others don't. The formula is really nice. If you don't like a luminous blush though, you won't like them. Let's look at, this is by Terry. These blushes have been discontinued. This is Rosy Shape. This is 400. This was the Terribly Denseless blushes. And I'm just gonna use the deeper shade in here. Yeah, much brighter, much more luminescent. The By Terry blushes I think are beautiful. I'm really disappointed that they discontinued them. I've basically picked up all the shades now before they're gone. And they remind me a little bit more of the RMS blushes. They have more of that luminosity to them. All right, let's look at the Hermes. So there's a lot of rose in Hermes. This one is Rose Tan. I think it's gonna be, my personal take is this is gonna be like way too, yeah, it's way too warm. I thought it would be, but I want to, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do all of them. Yeah, it has much of a warm look to it, almost peach, even though it's Rose Tan. I guess, you know, the idea is rose and then tan. The Hermes blushes, again, are not my favorite. Kind of like the Gucci. This is Rose Pommette. The formula is fine. I just don't reach for them. I think I just like other formulas better. I don't know. Or maybe it's the shades that just don't really appeal to me. This shade is very much like the rose shade in the RMS, the French Rosé. Sort of a bright poppy pink, but yet, as like I said before, the RMS are still much more luminescent. All right, let's try Rose Ombre. This was actually probably my favorite shade from Hermes. This one has a chance of being closer. Yeah, it's closer. Still not building it up here. It's closer to Dusty Rose and Mocha, but it's still a brighter pink and a lighter pink. Right, and the last of Hermes, let's see, is Rose Nuit, which again, I think is gonna be a brighter pink, but if I'm gonna do all the roses, I'm gonna do all the roses, so yeah, you can see it's much brighter shade. Let's move to Valentino. So the Valentino shades, I'm just gonna look and see which ones I think. Number 3 is more of a purple shade. That's not gonna do it. Number 1 is as well. I think number 9 Number 9, but I'm gonna, yeah, it's more of a peach. That's number 9 in Valentino. Number 1, I think is gonna be too bright. Yep. The Valentinos are also very pigmented. This looks a little bit more like the RMS and the Hermes, but again, it's a very pigmented bright pink, but you know, not really, looks like the French Rose from RMS, but it has more purple to it. All right, so the Valentinos aren't gonna help us there. Pat McGrath. So this is Divine Rose, the original Divine Rose. Definitely a beautiful pink, but very different than Dusty Rose and the Mocha shade. It's much more of a like a deep rose pink. If you notice, like these still look more brown almost in comparison, but like a cool brown, almost like a mushroom brown. And this one, the Gucci, the Rosy Beige, where people said similar, it is similar, but have you noticed that it's become more like brown as it sat on my skin? Like these have stayed more pinky brown, and this one goes sort of like brown. It's not a bad shade. It's a pretty shade. It's just, again, not my favorite. All right, let's try, this is Sisley. This is the Orchid. This is Rose. Now, this is a very luminescent product, and it's supposed to be. It's got like highlighter built into it. Yeah, it's just a very bright light pink. So again, this is called Rose, but very different interpretation of that rose shade. Let's try Chantecaille. So this is the Flower Power Cheek shade. Now I think this is going to be very different, but a lot of people asked to see it in comparison. So this looks more like a little bit like the new Chanel blush, the Fantasia blush, although that one is almost a direct dupe for the Chantecaille blush that was in the Pearl Compact. Wayne Goss, we have the Coral Rose Compact. One shade in here is obviously more of the highlighter, and then this one, Rosy, figured we could try it. Again, much lighter, much brighter pink. All right, we have Sweet Wildflower that has a shade called Dusty Rose in it. Yeah, not even close. You see Dusty Rose Wayne Goss compared to the Dusty Rose of Jones Road, you see that there is a little bit more brown to it, but two things about the Wayne Goss: it is more luminescent, not as luminescent as the RMS, but has more luminescence to it, and it's not as deep. More peach. Now we're down to Dior and Chanel, and I'll also have Suqqu here in a minute. All right, so the Dior shades that I pulled, 468, which is, I believe, also the new one that's come out, but this was the Birds of the Feather one. Really beautiful blush. This one definitely has like sparkle to it. Very, very different to Dusty Rose and the Mocha, but a very pretty rosy. All right, we have 361. Yeah, definitely like a lighter, brighter pink. The Dior blushes, by the way, guys, from what I hear, are being reformulated. So I want to pick those up. 352. Yeah, much, much lighter. Again, when these are referred to like in the rosy tones, they're very light roses. They're not like a dusty or beige rose. So interesting, like you have all these different shades of rose, which it makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, like how many roses are out there? And this last one is Rose Montaigne. I mean, if you think of rose, there are different shades. Yellow roses, purple roses, lavender roses are my favorite. That's Rose Montaigne. So yeah, very different. So again, the two that are the closest are the Dusty Rose Bronzer by Jones Road and Mocha from Chanel. The Gucci Rosy Beige is close, but there's a difference there it's the undertone that I can't, it's like, it's more brown or maybe purple. There's something in that that just turns like deeper and a little bit muddy on me. All right, let's try Chanel. Running out of room. This is Rose Bronze. This is the old Rose Bronze. So, let's see, where can I do this? I need a longer arm. Okay, let's do it like this. I'll put my hand back up in a minute, but this way you can see. So that's Rose Bronze by Chanel. Similar, but you know, still more of that pinky shade, which is not a surprise because again, it's rose, and a lot of times when we think of rose, we think of pink. This is Rose Ecrin. Still like in that pink range. We have Tweed Rose. I hear that the tweeds are still coming. I'll let you know what I hear. Tweeds are not as pigmented in general. Most of the tweeds that I have anyway. That's Tweed Rose and Chanel. Like all these shades look very similar actually. They don't look that different, Chanel. And then Orchid Rose, which I still have in the box. This one's also been discontinued. Chanel and their discontinues. Let's put this one here. Orchid Rose is a beautiful shade. It still has that smell too. Yeah, I can smell it from over here. So Orchid Rose is a little more similar, but it's a little bit of like a brighter pink. Might even have a little bit more peach in it. I don't see anything that looks exactly like Orchid Rose either. Chanel. Keep discontinuing the things I like most. All right, let's try the new illuminating blush powder, which should be launching the day that this video goes up, if I timed this right. If you haven't contacted your Chanel SA and you have one, I would suggest doing it now. If you've watched my channel before, I'm not one of those people who tells you to run out and get things, but if you want this collection, you should order it like ahead of time. This is not gonna last. All right, let's put it here. So this is the blush, and it's very different than the rest of these. I'm only putting it here because everybody is interested in it and it's launching today. And I've just gotten a lot of questions about it. It's a very bright, highlighty pink. And honestly, the thing that looks most like it is the Chantecaille Pearlescent blush that came out a couple years ago that's also discontinued and it was limited edition. And I've done swatches on Instagram so you can see that, but very different from the rest of the shades. All right, so again, these are 3 Chanels. This one's a Tweed. Here is Gucci Rosy Beige. Here is Jones Road Dusty Rose, and here's the old Mocha. And I can't remember all the names of the other ones, but I did go through them each one so you can rewind. And when I have the video, I'll have timestamps for each one. But you can see nothing really, and this one is Orchid Rose by Chanel, which is also close. It's not quite, but it's close. It's a beautiful shade. If you can get your hands on Orchid Rose, I would suggest it. But anyway, but they're all, you know, very, very different shades of rose. All right, last but not least, let me pull out Suqqu. Okay, so Suqqu pre-summer has launched at Selfridges, and they've put a little bit more up each time, and each time it's sold out. It is launching at Harrods and Liberty London on the 6th. I am picking up pretty much the entire collection, but I will not have it ahead of time. So what I would say to you is, those of you who've asked like to wait to see my review, I would not wait to pick it up until you see my review because it will be gone. Now, if you don't like, you know, picking up something before I've reviewed it, I greatly appreciate that. That's very kind. There are reviews out there, folks who have gotten it early, folks who have gotten it in PR. I would say this. I strongly doubt that Suqqu is suddenly going to have eyeshadows and blushes that are bad. Everything I've ever bought from them, and that's been for years now, has been excellent. Eyeshadow quad, the green one especially, looks stunning. And if you like purples and a bright yellow, the other one would be a great choice. I would strongly suggest getting them when they launch. Again, I'm not telling you to go buy stuff just to go buy stuff, but if you want this collection or you've seen it and you're like, I love it, it will sell out. They just do. I wish there was more. I wish they didn't, I wish it wasn't done the way it's done, but that's just the way it is. Also, the melting blushes, which I'm going to show you today, they are discontinued. So if you can get your hands on melting blushes, you should, because they're the formula that I would say was most akin to the Chanel of old, like the Chanel Orchid here and the Mocha. But again, now it's discontinued. So I'm going to show you all the shades. This is 01. It's a lavender. Looks nothing like a rose, but very beautiful. This is 02, which is a bright pink, which I will swatch. Yeah, I don't think any of these will be like the Dusty Rose or the Mocha, but it's a beautiful shade. That's 02. I have all the shades. The ones that I don't have are on their way to me. I have ordered them and they're coming. This is 03, which is more of like a peach. 04. Really beautiful. This is more of like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost apricot. Really nice shade, 04. This is 07. So I'm missing 5 and 6. I think it's 5 is like a very orange shade, so I didn't actually pick it up. 6 is on its way to me. 6 might actually be kind of rosy. This is 9. This is the one I've gone on about many, many times because it's a beautiful shade. It actually does remind me of Mocha and Dusty Rose. It's just not as pigmented, but maybe that's why I liked it so much. Can you see? That one is a little bit like these two here. So 9 is the closest in the Suqqu. My arm is like dying. So that's 9. It is the most similar to Dusty Rose and Mocha. That's probably why I liked it. It's not exactly, but it's closer. 10. I'll swatch it for you just so you can see it. It's a brighter pink. Very pretty though. And I'll hold my arm up at the end, guys, so don't worry. There's a couple of limited edition shades. This is 101, which is like a bright orange, which you can't get your hands on anyway except secondary markets. And 102, which is more of a brown, so it's not really relevant to this conversation. Okay, so again, here's where this all started with Jones Road's bronzer in Dusty Rose, which is the closest to Mocha I have seen. This is the Gucci Rosy Bronze, or no, Rosy Beige, which again, I think is close. It's got like a deeper undertone that I can't quite put my hand on right now. I have a natural light. I think it almost has a little bit more purple or magenta as an undertone. So it ends up looking a little bit muddy on me, which is interesting. Here's a couple of Chanel shades. Again, I will have put the stamps when I put them on my arm. This one here is the Tweed. But there isn't really anything. These are the RMS blushes, you can tell, because they're much more luminescent than the others. You can see there isn't anything else. The Orchid Rose from Chanel is similar to the Dusty Rose and the Mocha, but it has a little bit more pink, a little bit more warmth. And then the 9 here from Suqqu is probably the closest of the Suqqu shades that I have to Dusty Rose and Mocha. And they are similar. But, you know, not exactly the same. But they are similar. If I had to pick, I'd say it's as close, but it doesn't have as much pink, a little bit more brown. Okay, so to put on my face today, what I'm gonna do, I was thinking about this while I was going through all of these. I think what makes the most sense is to take a little bit of the Gucci and put it on almost as like contour. I'll show you what I mean. Like a very little amount. So I'm gonna use let me use one of my Z Series brushes. So this is a Z Series. People keep asking me about brushes and I'm sorry, I'm really bad about it. This is a Chikuhodo Z Series. This is a cheek and highlight brush. And I'm gonna use the Gucci, but Gucci's really powdery too. And I'm just gonna go like almost like a contour here. And like I said, it's a pretty shade. It's not that I don't like it. It's just not my favorite formula. I don't really know why. I couldn't really tell you, but there's something about it that when I wear it, I'm kind of unhappy with it. Okay. So that is the Gucci. I'm gonna put a little bit more, best if I pull my hair back. Even though I cut 7 inches off my hair, there's still a lot of hair. All right, so that's the Gucci. If you go back and look at my Jones Road video that I did with just the Dusty Rose, you'll notice that these look similar on the face because there is a similarity between these shades because, like I said, they're close. The Jones Road formula I like better. I don't know, I think it blends better than the Gucci. I can't tell you exactly why, but I feel like it looks nicer on my skin. And maybe it's because my skin is dry. I don't know. But it's not that different on the face. There is similarities between the two shades. But the Jones Road is a little bit lighter, and it's not this undertone here in the Jones Road is just different than the Gucci. The Gucci almost, like I said, it's almost like purple. I can't really explain it. It's hard to really pinpoint what it is, but you can see the difference. On the face though, it's not that drastically different. I mean, if you got the Gucci and you got the Jones Road, would they be similar? Probably. Especially if you have a deeper skin tone, because the Gucci actually is deeper in tone. The Dusty Rose will probably work better if you're paler because it's lighter. But both actually look nice on the face. It's just, there's something about the Gucci that, I don't know, over time it just, I don't like it as much. I like it more as a contour blush than I like it as like a blush high on my cheeks. That's just me. And then what I was gonna do is take, and I've lost it already. Oh, here we go. I have like so many blushes. I'm gonna take the Mocha from Chanel, and I'm just gonna pop this right here. And you'll notice that the Mocha has a luminosity that the others do not have. Because again, the Jones Road is a bronzer, so it's not supposed to have luminosity really. And there's just something about the Chanel formula that is almost obviously impossible to recreate. Suqqu came close when they created like this shade number 9. It's close in formula and in shade, but they've discontinued it. So now I have way too much blush on now, but I kept my lips really, really basic. I have on the Hermes Rosy lip oil, so you know, kept in line. And of course on my eyes is pink and blue, so we got a lot of 80s going here, especially with the headband. But I wanted to show you that, you know, for those of you who are asking, between the Dusty Rose, the Gucci, and this Mocha Chanel, which you cannot find probably, if you're a deeper skin tone and you have the Gucci Rosy Beige, I think that's probably equal to being paler and wearing the Dusty Rose from Jones Road. Because like I said, if you're a deeper skin tone, you're gonna want a little bit deeper anyway. In my opinion, the formula of the Jones Road is actually nicer, but again, that could be my skin. I'm older, I have drier skin. And there really isn't another shade that I have that looks like the Dusty Rose from Jones Road, except for Mocha and the number 9 from Suqqu, which is also discontinued. Number 9 is discontinued, Mocha's discontinued, and the Chanel Orchid Rose, which is similar but a little warmer, is also discontinued. So I am not, that's why when I said I put on the Dusty Rose and I was like, oh my goodness, it reminds me of Mocha, this is why. I have all these blushes that are rose, and honestly, the Dusty Rose bronzer comes as close to Mocha as anything ever has. So thank you, Jones Road, for giving me an alternative to using my Chanel, because that Chanel Mocha is very, very old. It still smells good, to be honest. It still smells like that perfume that Chanel used to have back in the 80s on their products. It still works beautifully, but it has a shelf life. Everything does. And it's great to have a product that works as well and looks beautiful on the skin. It doesn't have the same luminosity that the Chanel does, but again, it's meant to be a bronzer, not a blush. But the shade is just so close. So incredibly close. So hopefully that helped. Now you have a compendium of like many, many rose blushes. And if you were to ask me like what my favorites are, I think from listening to me today, you would know that the Chanel and Suqqu are my favorite formulas. In regards to like luminosity versus matte, and I didn't go into any creams today because I was like, that would just push us overboard. I prefer most of the time to have a blush with a little luminosity because my skin is so dry. So I feel like a little luminosity actually goes a long way and looks really pretty. Too much luminosity though can, and again, this is all subjective, age you. In the sense that it does bring out texture, it does bring out lines, because that's what something with a highlight, something with a reflective nature has. But, you know, age is not something to be, it's not something to be scared of. It's not a bad thing. Like, I have lines on my face. I am proud of every single one of them. I earned them. So I don't mind that. But a matte blush, yes, it won't illuminate those things. That's true. But if you have really dry skin and you go with a completely matte product, I don't know. I think it actually is less attractive. Like for me, it's less attractive. Like I don't find it as flattering for my face or for my skin. So I like something with a little luminescence. I'm one of those people who's kind of somewhere in between. Like I like having what Chanel had, which was some luminescence, some satin, but not like, you know, super over the top. The RMS blushes, yes, they are pretty luminescent, and so are the Valentinos. I use them with a very light hand. I go on with them very lightly. The Haus Labs blushes, by the way, I thought about including them, but the colors that I have are so outside the range of rose that I was like, no, that just doesn't work, because I didn't pick up any of the shades that would be in any way considered rose, but those are also incredibly pigmented and beautiful, but more like luminescent blushes. So I don't necessarily have one favorite. It depends on my mood. It depends on the look that I'm going for. It depends on the time of year. I might actually go for a more, you know, light, very luminescent blush like the Chantecaille, like this power blush in the spring and summer, because I'm doing a lighter look. And in the fall and winter when I have more makeup on and maybe even a heavier lip, I might do something that has more, you know, pigment and almost use it as like a contour. I have no contour on today. I have very little bronzer on today. This is all done with blush. So you can contour out your face. You can even bronze your face with a shade that looks more like blush. Again, it's all about what looks good on you and what you enjoy and what you like. So play around with the makeup that you have. Try it in different places on your face and see how it looks. You'll see that depending on your coloring, you know, there's different ways to use these products, and Jones Road calls Dusty Rose bronzer, but you absolutely can use it as a blush if you want to. And like I said, it looks so much like Chanel Mocha if that was something that you were looking for. I am still looking for dupes for other things. I have a lot of requests for a lot of different products. I am looking. I have a lot of makeup, but I'll tell you guys, there are some products that are really hard to dupe. And this Mocha blush, I have been looking for a dupe for, I can't even remember, for a very long time. So I'm very grateful that I have this new Jones Road, even if it is a bronzer. And for those of you out there who are like, well, it can't be a bronzer, it's ridiculous, it's pink. This is makeup. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be an art. This is supposed to be something that makes you feel good about yourself. Don't buy into what any one person or brand or anybody else says about what something is supposed to be. If you like it and you want to use it as bronzer, use it as bronzer. You want to use it as blush, you go right on ahead. You want to mix it with something and use it as lipstick, by all means. The whole point of makeup, and one of the reasons I started my channel, is that it's a you know, it's a release. It's a way to do something fun and artistic and enjoyable. And sometimes it makes you feel better about yourself. If you look in the mirror and you're like, oh wow, I did something, I look great today and I feel confident. But it doesn't even have to be that. It can just be fun, and it can just be playing around with color like crayons when you were a kid. You know, I really don't like this idea that there's a right way or a wrong way to use makeup. I think there are ways that will look more flattering. Absolutely, that is true. And I try to give tips and tricks to things that will, you know, help if you want to lift your face, if you want to, you know, if you want to make your eyes look more round or more narrow or uplifted or whatever, that's fine. But these narrow ideas of like what something is or should be, in my opinion, is just silly. So that's my 2 cents. That's all my rose blushes. I'm sure I'm going to find a rose blush like in the next 10 minutes where I'll be like, shoot, forgot that one. But I thought this was enough for today. I did not include cream ones. There probably is a cream shade that is similar to this. I'm going to bet it's the Armani one. And in that vein, Armani is coming out with blushes. I was hoping to have Armani as part of this, but they're not out yet. And I was like, I'm not waiting anymore because new releases are coming fast and furious in the next couple weeks, guys. So I got to get on that. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I'd really be interested in hearing if there's a blush that you have that you think is similar to Dusty Rose and Mocha, or just a rose blush that you really enjoy that I did not mention today because, you know, obviously I need more blush. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.